Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Absurd Arguments, a podcast where we talk about stupid things, but this episode is different because it's not going to be stupid.
Well, and because we forgot to mention our names in the intro.
Sorry, I have a terrible curse to whenever that happens. I just break out in coughing and die.
Yeah. I'm Nathan. This is Matthew. We argue about absurd things, like he said, and this episode is different, I guess, because we're going to talk about something serious today.
Indeed.
Yeah. No jokes.
Well,
none at all.
See, that's the part where I would have said a joke, but because you said no jokes, I guess I can't joke.
See, we're going to have long pauses of silence. It'll be great for your listening ears. Wherever there's going to be a joke, we'll be silent instead.
Yeah, that reminds me.
Oh, gosh, it's so comfortable for me. I'm in this. Oh.
The one thing that you shouldn't do in radio is have dead air, but in podcast, It becomes a punchline.
Yeah, something like that. I think it's just a sin to, our ancestors, radio broadcasters.
Yeah, it's like someone stole the word jokes, and it's like, Nathan, are gone.
Oh, yeah, we always reference Kingdom Hearts 2. That's the best scene ever.
So good. But no, today our serious topic is going to be about espionage.
Yeah, spies, and so what's cool is Matthew and I have decided that, we're not going to be just our normal selves. We're actually going to each take on a role, and we're equals relatively. So neither of us is going to take on the main spy role that you would see in a traditional spy movie, but
Nonsense. We've
all got kind of secondary things, totally equal. And so Matthew, what is your role for this episode? Who are you going to be?
So my whole character arc is going to be around the guy who's the hacker or the tracker or the intelligence division. And so I'm gathering all the information and passing it on to the spy. And so the things that I'll talk about, the things that I'll say are geared around that.
Honest, that makes sense. Even with some of the things we've planned to discuss later, in this episode, it really ties into your character well. So
thank you.
I appreciate that. I hope you say things like, we've got him, a lot. I would appreciate that.
You never know.
Yeah. I'm going to be the commander that paces around stressed out throughout the whole movie, so,
yep.
And I'll say, I'll ask, do we know where he is? Do we have him? And then you'll say stuff like, no, we lost him, sir. And I'll have to cuss. I'm just going to have to say a cuss word.
Now I'm going to have to go back in my computer files and find the beep, the beep sound effect and just start throwing it everywhere. Oh,
right.
No.
I'll just be saying things like, oh, crud, and Matthew will still beep it anyway.
Yep.
To make you think I actually swore when I did it.
Yeah. The power of the one who edits.
Right. And it's going to be a struggle because usually the commander's like a secret bad guy,
Sometimes.
And then like the hacker tracker guy usually has a, oh no, am I working for the bad guy moment? And they have to betray the commander. So in this episode, we'll probably have a betrayal of some kind. Probably.
Yeah, maybe. Or
maybe.
Nothing like that happens and we just, Just do a regular podcast and we forget our characters.
Yeah, that would be a Bonnie good thing, I would say.
Oh yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. So we're going to start it off and not just talk about spies. We're actually going to be spies. And so what we've done is we've gathered a few gadgets. And for all of my research that I have done this episode has come from YouTube.
Okay.
Because I wanted to do something that I could access to, and I already spend way too many hours on YouTube, so I was like, might as well make this part of it. So that's what I've done, and I have again gone to one of the cesspools of YouTube and watched a video from watchmojo.com.
Oh, very good.
Yes, yes. So I have, how many do you have? I have two from the video that I absolutely thought were great.
I have three.
Okay.
One I just came up with on my own. I thought would be
Oh.
fun,
Mm.
and then one is a real life invention, and then the
Mhm.
third one is from a movie that I just think is kind of funny.
Okay, so I've got two. One of them was a real thing and used in a movie as a joke, and then the other one was a real thing that never actually saw field work. So why don't you start us off then?
Okay, I'll start with my real one.
Okay.
There's this gadget invented by the CIA in 1974 called
Mm.
the Insectithopter. In
Yes.
Insectithopter, and it looks just like a dragonfly, but it's a recording device, and it operates like a drone. So you would fly your little dragonfly in, and listen in on whatever conversation you needed. I think the battery only lasted like an hour, but they didn't really use it because it just kept like falling over in the wind. It would be carried away. So yeah, so that's, if I was a spy, that would be one of my gadgets. I'd use the Insectithopter.
Mm. Yep. I'll start with my real one that didn't make it into the field either. And on Watch Mojo, they mentioned that one, but then this one came up, and I loved it way too much. So this is officially called Charlie the Robot Fish.
Ah,
CIA is very good at using code names, and so they
yeah,
called this. You have the insectithopter. This one is
yeah.
called Charlie the Robot Fish.
Hmm. I I'm at a loss of what it could possibly be.
That's why I'm here to explain it. So the CIA used it as a UUV, an unmanned underwater vehicle, and its design was that of a catfish. Surprisingly, it's kind of weird. And
How
so
large was it? Was it
it was about
like
the
of a
size of a
catfish
catfish.
size? Okay.
I don't know.
Ah,
However big catfish are. If I called my brother, he'd be able to tell me. Um, but what its design was to do, it had radio signals. It could communicate, and since it was unmanned, it was remote controlled, and it was used to collect, or it was designed to collect water samples to test for nuclear traces or any other biochemical traces in water. The
hmm.
only problem was that they never officially used it, which I
Aw.
think is a major disappointment because I want to
Yeah.
be out in a lake catfishing. And with catfishing, if you know anything about it, you use this stuff called stink bait, and it just, you touch it and your fingers smell like stink bait for like a couple weeks. Like, it's
Yeah.
such pungent stuff. And I want to go catfishing and pull up just this unnatural looking monstrosity of a robot.
uh, the only thing that would make what is it called again? The Charlie the cat robot catfish or whatever.
Charlie the
The
robot fish.
Yeah, the only thing that would make it better is if like you catch it and it's still a catfish, but then it starts singing and goes, "Don't worry about a thing." That would be the only thing. Like
Like
it's
you
like the singing bass as well.
Yeah, no, it's, so what it is they repurposed it, but they still left. They forgot to take that feature out. So as you walk by, it just like turns and like stares at you and says, "Don't worry," which will then immediately cause me to worry.
Of course.
Mm-mm.
Oh gosh, that's a great
Dude,
one. I like that.
yeah, that's just a bunch of
You-
mumbo jumbo.
okay, but let's be real here. You know how there's that conspiracy that, and I hate it. The birds aren't real.
It's true.
They're all, you, yeah. The birds aren't real. The thing is, why are we not more concerned about dragonflies and catfish? Like,
True.
these are the things they were actually doing.
Oh, gosh, you're right. You're right.
Like the CIA has just not made a big deal out of the birds aren't real thing because they know the truth, which is it's dragonflies and catfish.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Well, my second gadget I made up on my own. I was thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
And what every spy needs is like a pin, like a gadget pin.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, hear me out. What if, like, you remember maybe back in school, you'd have those girls with those pins that had like 4 different colors in one really large pin?
I I didn't have to imagine that because I had one.
Oh, yeah. I guess it wasn't just girls who had it. Uh, anyway, it would have like red, blue, black. What's another one? Green?
Green.
Sure. Okay. So, what if instead of just the colors, each one of your spy pin had like different things it could do? So, like, one pin is like invisible ink, to leave secret messages. Uh, another one of the pins.
It's just it writes the indentation, and that's what other people have to read. It just doesn't have any ink at all.
Right. Well, which is also a problem with those pins I've found, let's see.
Yes, very true.
Another one shoots a poison dart, so you just
Ooh.
slide it up and boom, poison dart
But that
somebody.
ink is also really good for writing.
Yeah, it could be, but if you touch it, you die. Let's see. Then we
Nothing
could
good
do
doesn't come without a little bit of risk.
now for the third one, I'm tied a bit. Well, no, the third one we'll just make it a regular pen so you can actually
Mm.
write messages in normal ink, that could be the black ink or whatever, the blue one, black or blue.
Mm-hmm.
And so the final one I'm torn on, and you can help me pick which would be a better fit. It could be either like a needle that is truth serum. So you could, from the movie like The Man Who Knew Too Little with Ben Murray, they had like a truth serum pin they stabbed him with. So you could use that,
Yeah.
to get the
Yeah.
truth out of people. Okay. Or it's like a stirring stick where you can stir your martinis in case you're tired of having them shaken, Like maybe today I want a stirred martini, not a shaken one. And I'll stir it myself.
Mm. Mm. I think you should do this truth serum because then what you do is you stir a martini with the truth serum and you give that to the person you're trying to go for. So I think the truth
Yeah.
serum one would actually be better.
And there's no way they'd go, I really don't want to drink this. You just stuck a pin in it.
Yeah, it's not like,
Like-
oh, you do it in secrecy.
Nobody
you don't just
does
like
that. Yeah.
You don't just like
Oh, okay.
you don't just like
I'm not
put their
gonna go-
drink in front of them and then just like stick the pin you pulled out of your pants pocket, or if you're a nerd, your pocket protector on your front pocket on your shirt, just like click it and then just like stir it around just like an idiot. This is a
Like,
super spy.
You're with that hot chick and you're just like, nah, don't worry, I got this. I'll stir it for you. Just get your pin out.
The only thing worse is if you stuck your own finger in it.
Oh gosh. Oh yeah, cover my
But you
finger
also
in
have
true
to you have to
serum.
make sure you don't click the poison one
Oh no. Was it green or blue? Which was the poison? I forget.
Oh gosh, I would hate to be colorblind at
Ah,
that moment.
let the
It's
red be the poison. Then you know, okay, red is bad, danger. That's
oh
the poison.
dang. That's a good one.
Yeah, that's my one I made up, kind of.
Yeah. So this other one that I have kind of goes along with that one pretty easily, and this has been featured in plenty of movies. More that comes to mind for a spy movie that I've seen is Johnny English Reborn. Uh, I
Ah,
I love Rowan Atkinson so much. Such a great actor. And
he's an inspiration.
he is this is the lipstick gun. And so
Oh gosh, and it's real.
it is real because the lipstick gun was used by female KGB agents and Johnny English.
Gosh, I love it.
And so it only had one use, obviously, but it was discreet to where it just looked like regular lipstick. But then what happened was there's a clip that came out from the bottom, and that was the trigger, and that was used to fire it off once in case of emergency that the agent needed to get out of. Or in Johnny English's case, he had to look natural, and he had to apply the lipstick first to try to make it look like it's a real lipstick thing. And it was such a good scene.
Oh, I remember that. That was great.
I love that movie. I need to watch it again. That was a good one.
Yeah, that's a classic. I like that.
Yep. So I've got the two that I have are Charlie the Robot Fish and a lipstick gun.
And honestly, you could use the lipstick gun on Charlie the robot fish,
True.
Yeah, make it like Charlie a girl's name, robot fish.
Mm.
My last gadget, I don't have much to say about it because it's a very short clip that I found it in. It comes from the late 80s Bond film The Living Daylights.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell I'll tell you what it's called, and
Okay.
you try to tell me what you think it might be. Okay.
Okay.
So the name of this gadget is the Ghetto Blaster.
Oh no.
Oh yes.
Oh
What do you think?
no.
What do you think the Ghetto Blaster is?
Um I don't know, Nathan. I don't have any thoughts into what a ghetto blaster could be.
It is a it is a boombox, that you hold on your shoulder,
Hello?
and then you press a button and a barrel emerges from the side of it and fires off a missile.
That goes against what a spy is, because you got to be, discreet and hidden. But you got this giant box that you're carrying around.
I think it's just so great. It's the best spy gadget.
Gosh, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well,
Golly.
the information I gathered from that is I would never send anyone to use that.
I think it'd be great. Like it's hiding in plain sight. It's like surely the secret agent we've been searching for would not be the guy holding the boombox.
Whoops, is that a rocket launcher?
Oh, that'd be great.
So stupid. So stupid.
Well, we do have a couple arguments in store, and
We do.
and one I think will be pretty iconic. But I need you to get in the system and find us our segue music to play.
Right away, sir. I found it. Shall I play it?
Good work. Yeah, play it.
Thank you. Here we go. Boss, I found this This new, uh, I hate this. So now we're gonna start our arguments. I can't be in character. I'm not
It's
that
cool.
quick witted.
I got it. Don't worry, underling. I have this.
I'll just start spitting off a bunch of mumbo jumbo, and that'll do favors for no one.
Yeah, just firing off a bunch of acronyms. It's the ABC founded the, DFJ, and the NASDAQ was,
Yep.
The ETA of the LOL to the JK,
Yep.
to find the spy. Our first argument, Matthew, is probably about the two most iconic spies of all time.
Yes.
For British people, it's obviously James Bond.
Mm-hmm.
And then for us Americans, it's Tom Cruise.
No.
So,
It's Ethan Hunt.
Oh, he has a name.
He has the name Ethan Hunt in the Mission Impossible movies.
Right. So I think it's fairly obvious which side both of us are on. I'm on the James Bond is the better, spy. And
which is one of the few times that I'm ever going against British things because I like British culture. And Nathan, you are a, hardcore American, and we've decided to flip sides.
Yeah, that is kind of odd for us.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. It's just I heard of the Ghetto Blaster and I'm all on board.
Oh, gosh. You can't
all
keep
right.
talking about that. We actually, no, you can. People don't normally listen this far into the podcast.
only our true fans know about the Ghetto Blaster.
Anyways, James Bond.
Yeah, it's pretty great. Oh, do you want me to start or you got
Yes,
this?
please do.
Okay, look, man, James Bond is iconic, honestly, you couldn't pick a better spy to like because there's like 6 different James Bonds, so if you don't like one, you'll find one you like, whether you start off with the first guy, Sean Connery, he's a really brow man, Scottish guy, maybe a bit chauvinistic, but that's just how the time was, but it's iconic hearing him say things like, shaken, not stirred, my martini, please. And, Bond, James Bond, like he started all that.
I mean, just real quick, does he have anything else about his physical characteristics? I mean, because you only mentioned he's a brow guy. I mean, that's a little bit weird to have a kink for, but I mean...
No, he's got black hair, too. He wears his little tuxedo stuff all the time. Has a Scottish accent.
But he's really into women's brows.
No,
what's the shape of their eyebrows?
Okay, when I say brow... I'll tell you why I said brow, but I'll say it later. Okay, so, but yeah, he's cool. Then, like, say you don't like Sean Connery for whatever reason. There's an Australian James Bond, George Lazenby. He was the guy on Her Majesty's Secret Service. He's just in one film, so you'll have to deal with that. Then you have Roger Moore. He was in a bunch.
Yep.
You have Timothy Dalton. He was in a couple. We have Pierce Brosnan. He's just so darn sexy and stuff. So I think people like him for that.
Hey, now.
Not me, dude. Other people. And then if you just want like a really moody and depressed James Bond, you have Daniel Craig.
Now, from all of these James Bonds that you said, there's obviously one outlier. All of these names are quick and easy to remember. What's that Australian guy's name?
George Lazenby.
Well, yeah, George Lazenby.
It's iconic, right? It just rolls off the tongue, huh?
You've got Sean Connery, Pierce Brosnan, Daniel Craig, George Lazenby.
Okay, it's kind of obvious, I suppose, why he was just in one film.
Yeah, he's
honestly,
Australian.
Dude, well, yeah, that too. I saw this YouTube short that was really good, and it was like how each James Bond says this line, and the classic line is, "My name is Bond, James
Hmm.
Bond." And so it shows all of them doing the line. The Australian guy doesn't sound Australian, so if I didn't know that ahead of time, I just would have thought he's British, which is disappointing.
Yeah, I wish he would have done it in his Australian accent because everyone else is,
Yeah,
the name's Bond, James Bond. I
like
might, the
if
name's
he
Bond,
said,
James Bond, eh?
yeah, or like, "Good day, mate. My name's Bond, James
No,
Bond."
I
You
like
know,
it shaken, not stirred. It gets too much in it. I don't like it. It's garbage.
Crikey, is that a ghetto blaster? Something like that. No, but my new favorite James Bond is Timothy Dalton,
Mm,
because like everybody says the line, like it's supposed to be said, like you can imagine. Even Daniel Craig, his tortured James Bond, of course, he
yep.
says it normally, but you get to Timothy Dalton and he's pretty much just like, "Yeah, my name's Bond, James Bond."
Yeah.
It's said with such flippancy, like he's like, "I don't care." He's even in a telephone booth at the time, like muttering
Mhm.
it to some lady. I love it. You know,
Yep.
it's
Yep.
so cool.
Mm.
But see, James Bond he's just the perfect picture of your classic spy. You know, um,
Yep.
always with the hot ladies. He's
Yep.
got cool gadgets.
Mm.
Um, and in the case of Daniel Craig, he can do parkour. So
He can
those
do
are
parkour.
those are the key things that I like about
Mm.
my spies.
Mm.
So
Yep.
um, and they're globetrotters. They're all over the place.
It's true. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
so is Ethan Hunt.
Uh, I don't know, man.
You see, so what we have here is a dichotomy of two images. James Bond is your idealistic, ultimate British guy who is suave, he is cunning, but he's also, very refined.
Yeah.
Ethan Hunt is an American, and that's his
Okay.
defining trait.
Dude, I don't even remember seeing him do any parkour. Like he just runs a lot.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
In Ghost
No.
Protocol, no. In Ghost Protocol, he is literally climbing on the side of a glass-like tower in the Middle East. I don't remember which country. I don't want to say Saudi Arabia because then I'll probably be wrong. But I mean, that's super cool, and his fight scenes are always like really choreographed well. And I mean, everything outside of the second movie in the Mission Impossible series is pretty good. Don't
Oh.
worry about the second movie. That movie was so bad.
Okay.
Like I own every single Mission Impossible movie.
Yeah.
And like I because it's one of my favorite series to watch because I mean, Ethan Hunt is a believable character. He as the movies progress, his character changes, and he's like an actual person who's learning and growing, and it's something that it's not just it's a Mission Impossible or a James Bond movie. I got to go see who's the new Bond. Um, Ethan Hunt is he's a special agent, but he's also just a guy who has like
Yeah.
real problems and issues, and he's relatable. Because one thing I can relate to Ethan Hunt that I can't relate to James Bond is I'm not good with women. And Ethan
Ah.
Hunt is sacrificing his marriage and to protect her and his wife so that he can go and save the world. And so he doesn't worry about women, and I don't worry about women.
I thought you were gonna say he lets the ladies die in his life, and I was like, is it,
No.
oh, okay? He just sacrifices them for the greater good.
Nonsense. That's funny thing you mentioned that is that Ethan Hunt will not sacrifice anyone for the good of others.
Yeah.
He will sacrifice himself, but if it's to choose between someone he knows and loves and getting the mission done, he will always save the person because again, he's it's like a real guy. Who's like, I'm more concerned about saving this person than all these people I don't know. Obviously that happens in the end and he does save everyone, but he looks at the moment and he sees the person. He doesn't just look at him as a coworker.
Right.
So
I have a question for you.
shoot.
Can you name any of the villains in Mission Impossible
No.
without Googling it? See, this is why the James Bond series is great, because there are just iconic villains throughout the whole series. You have people like Goldfinger or
Mm,
Jaws. You have people like Oddjob, Hugo Drax, Gustav Graves, Aristotle Christados. And then you have probably what I would consider the greatest villain name of all time, Dr. No.
mm,
Think about that. Just, are you going to be a good guy? No. I'm going to be the doctor of no. That's
yeah.
pretty, I don't know. That's an iconic villain name right there. And they started out the whole series with that guy. They started out strong.
Well, Nathan, that's good and all, but
Yeah.
the focus of Mission Impossible movies isn't on, what is Ethan Hunt going to do to overcome, these villains. Ethan Hunt is growing as a person. He's facing these dilemmas that, on a much more exaggerated scale. He's facing things like, hey, who do I protect? What is important to me? What do I need to do? And I mean that fits his character, is that he is always thinking through scenarios and making sure that um, he's going to save as many people as he can without compromising his beliefs. And James Bond is a womanizer.
You're right. Uh, you know, the, what do you want me to say? That's who he is. He's just,
Indeed.
that's the price of being a spy. You're supposed to have a long time love interest, because if you do, you're either forced into retirement, or, I hate to say it, she dies. She's
Mm,
going to be targeted, and then you'll be a tortured James Bond. Uh,
Daniel Craig.
Poor, gosh, that guy.
Yeah,
Golly. He needs a hug. That's
he
really what he
does.
needs.
He needs a hug and then take him out to a parkour gym.
Yeah. You know what? I think that's why they cast Judi Dench as like M or whatever,
Hmm.
like his commander in chief, because he needed like a good grandmother like figure in
Mm,
his life. And
yep.
and whenever I think of Judi Dench, I think of my grandmother.
That's nice.
But she cusses sometimes. Not my grandmother, but Judi
Oh no, I'm gonna give you the sound effect when you talk to your grandmother.
Dench.
But I don't know. Ethan Hunt is just a dude, and that's why I like the
Yeah.
Mission Impossible movies.
And that's why I don't like him, because I want to escape. I want to have a fantasy where
Ugh,
it's like, wow, this cool spy,
shameful. I mean,
doing all this cool stuff.
he did fight in a helicopter against Superman. What's his name?
Henry Cavill.
Henry Cavill. Yeah, he fought
Yeah.
Henry Cavill in a who is a fellow spy in a
Yeah.
helicopter, and he was able to bring the helicopter down and killed Henry Cavill with a hook in one of the coolest death scenes I've ever seen in a movie.
Yeah.
It's brutal.
I will give I'll give these movies this. And it's not because I like Ethan Hunt. It's just I do respect the fact that Tom Cruise like does all his own stunts.
Oh, it's so cool. It's so cool.
That's the appeal of the Mission Impossible movies, is you go, whoa, that's Tom Cruise laying his life on the line for me to be entertained right now.
Yep. Now, do you have a moment? You've seen me do all these cool things. Would you like a moment to hear about our Lord and Savior Scientology?
Yeah, he does do
Our
that
Lord and
too.
Savior L. Ron Hubbard?
Yeah. It is kind of weird how in all the Mission Impossible movies there's like a shadowy cult that's actually the
Mm,
good guys, and that's kind of
hmm.
weird to me.
Yeah. And the fact that he's just like, Zignut wants you to live for 10 trillion years.
Right.
I was like, what does this have to do with Mission Impossible? Oh, I guess it is an
Yeah.
impossible thing to believe.
Right. Yeah, it doesn't show Ethan Hunt giving away, millions of dollars to the Church of Scientology.
That's true. That's higher up. Ethan Hunt just got in, so he's not there yet.
Yeah. Yeah. That would be real meta if Ethan Hunt met Tom Cruise at the Scientology thing.
Excuse, don't say that when I drink.
And he's like, I'm a big fan of your acting. It'd be real meta. I'd like that.
That'd be funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, so listener, you may decide who you side with, but obviously, if you're an American, you side with me. If you're literally anyone else who's wrong, you side with Nathan.
I mean, if you just like if you just like good spies, the pick is obvious here. James Bond all the way.
Man, you would like it since you are a misogynist.
I'm not, Matthew. Stop spreading lies.
You told me women shouldn't be on the internet.
I would never say that.
That was all in a joke, by the way. He was just trying to get me riled up, which he succeeded in, but
Right.
he
I
didn't
mean,
actually mean
who
it.
really would believe that?
You would.
If we have any lady fans after this episode, Matthew, it'll be no thanks to you. I'm going to
If we
have
have
to
any
turn
lady
up.
fans, our email's in the description.
Oh, gosh. Look, I'm going to have to. You've done so much damage to our image this episode. I'm going to have to
Our
really.
image.
I'm going to have to ratchet up the charm and really, pull out all the stops to get our fans back.
Well, you know what, Nathan? Now is the perfect time because now what we've done is we've looked at gadgets, we've looked at the perfect spy. So, what we're going to do is we're going to create our own spy story.
I like
And
this.
we've done so much research, and we spent hours and hours doing research. That is my job since I'm the analyst in the intelligence
Right.
office.
Uh huh.
um, and Nathan, you being the commander, told me what to do, so I did it.
I'm
um,
pacing back and forth as we speak.
as we speak, you could hear the footsteps because of his it's not a footstep.
Those are a lot of footsteps.
All I could hear was your chair creaking. On
Uh,
the his very nice $400 you know George Louis Vuitton Armani shoes on the marble floor.
huh. They're
Um,
click clacking away. Yeah.
yes, yep. But I would like to start it off with the scene where the spy gets the information, and
Yeah.
so um,
Now, Matthew, I think we should actually start with the first threat of the villain.
mm, okay,
Doesn't because that's usually where it starts. You
not
know.
always, but okay.
Okay. I mean, which would you prefer? We could flip a coin.
You got it. I flipped a coin. We're starting with the mission.
I, screw you. I'll flip a coin.
Go for it.
I'll flip my own coin. Okay. All right. Do you want heads or tails?
I'll take heads because I'm
Okay.
always on top.
Uh, oh my gosh. We're going to lose all plans. Okay. So it's tails. Okay. So
Dang it.
we're starting with the villain. I think a small country is nuked off the map.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
Yeah, we need to pick a small country that is nuked off the map. I'm thinking,
Now, if you use a real country, that
yeah,
will have some. You're not going to damage my
that's
image. You're only going to tarnish your image. So we'll do.
that's why we're actually not nuking a small country. We'll nuke Vermont. Yeah, I changed my mind.
Fair,
Okay,
fair, fair.
so
Hello
Vermont
to
is
hello to everyone listening, Vermont. This is the last thing you'll ever hear.
okay. Look, every bad thing happens in New York City and Los Angeles. Okay, so we got to switch things up. Vermont is nuked off the map. Just Vermont.
Wow.
Okay. All right. So now we can cut to the spy hearing about this tragedy. How
Mm.
does he find out about it, Matthew?
Well, he finds out about it as he always does. He goes to his favorite coffee shop and he sits down on the corner seat on the
Uh-huh.
far side of the little cafe bar, and he orders his favorite drink, an americano. And
Mm,
on the bottom of his coffee cup, he is given the instructions to meet, his contact at a certain place. But as he looks up and sees the television, he sees
yeah.
what is happening in Vermont.
No, not Vermont.
And he remembers that his grandmother's sister's best friend's mother was
No.
was in Vermont and grew up there. So he has this weird connection with it.
Yeah. Now, also, I think he flirts with the barista a lot. So, like, before and after he finds this out, he has been winking at the barista.
It's true. It's true. And then she's kind of given that, soft look off to the side. And she doesn't really
All
give
right.
off any signals, but she's like, I see you over there.
Okay, Matthew, I have a thing. Okay, so he has the mission. I say we can flip a coin for this, but if you
All
wish,
right.
does with the barista, does she get swept away on this adventure with him, or will he find a different love interest?
I think you'll find a different love interest because the first woman
Okay,
you come in contact with is not the woman you spend the rest of your life with. Or excuse me, the rest of your movie runtime with.
right. You were kind of talking way too much to us, I suppose. A helpful reminder. Okay. Anyway, all right. So he leaves the coffee shop. Um, I think I think this is when he meets up. He goes to the headquarters. He goes to
Mm-hmm.
HQ.
Yep.
That's when he meets the commander, who tells him that the villain. Um, let's see. We got to come up with a cool villain name. I'm gonna look around my apartment and come up with a cool villain name.
Well, the
Um,
commander's name is John Swanson.
okay, John Swanson. I like that. Um, and they call him JS. CJS, Commander
Mm.
John Swanson. I'm gonna say the villain's name is Spoon Turtle.
What what he do?
Doctor.
Grow up in the boondocks of Louisiana?
No, we gotta find it. He has to come from a country that isn't like pure evil, but it's like, yeah, I could see them making somebody evil.
France.
Yeah, France. He's a French villain. Doctor Spoon Turtle. Oh, and he's a
Hold on,
doctor.
hold on. Let me pull up a translator so we can get the French.
Oh, right.
Uh,
Doctor Le Docteur Spoon Turtle.
okay.
Cuillère tortue.
Chie torti.
Chier the tea. Okay, we're not gonna call him that at all because this is an American movie. So he'll be Doctor Spoon Turtle.
He'll be Dr. Torti.
No.
Chie torti.
We don't want subtitles every single time we say the villain's name.
This is an audio medium. How are people
No,
going to read subtitles?
I, I don't want to have to speak French in our podcast.
You've already tried to speak other languages and butchered them. Why not just add French to it?
I don't know. It's just.
Dr. Chie torti.
Okay, you can say that. I'm gonna
I'll
call
do
him
it.
what he really is, Doctor Spoon Turtle. Okay.
Wow.
So his plan is not just to well, his plan was to blow up Vermont because of the oil there, um, and he wants to get rid of the USA's oil supplies. But he won't rest until he's bombed every single state of America.
Wow, that's he should
Kind,
he really should focus on the East Coast, because then you release one nuke and that gets like 3 states at a time.
right. I say, okay, so I think the mission should be, the spy has to like find the thing, right?
Of
So
course.
what if he has to find like 3 keys to the nuke cannon
Oh,
that
well, then
Dr.
is that going to get him
Turtle
access to
has?
the Temple of Time so that he can go back and forward in time and beat him, and then go back in time and beat him again? Legend
I
of
mean,
Zelda.
no, no, no. He just has to use the keys
Yeah, he's got to
to
go to the
open the
fire
door.
dungeon of Phoenix, Arizona, the water dungeon of Miami, Florida, and the earth dungeon of Butte, Montana.
I was hoping it'd be more globe-trotting, like around the world, but yeah, we could go to those places. I would say he just opens a door inside the cannon so he can destroy the core, the
Mm,
nuclear core,
yes.
and it might blow him up too. So it's a dangerous mission.
Ooh, dangerous.
Ooh,
Does our spy have a
that's
name?
oh yeah. I'll let you come up with a name. I came up with a
Okay.
villain's name. You
All
come
right.
up with a spy name.
All right. We'll call him Buck.
Rogers.
Is Buck Rogers a person?
Yes, that's a classic sci-fi guy.
No. Um,
The
Buck
astronaut.
Buck Mirror.
Buck Mirror. I like it.
Mm,
Yeah.
yep.
Does he
So
have a mirror somewhere on his person?
no.
Okay.
So Buck
Gotcha.
Mirror starts his journey going to the
Uh-huh.
Fire Temple of Phoenix, Arizona,
Okay.
and
Now does he should bring his sidekick along, right?
yes, his
Or
sidekick.
or will
Um,
his sidekick already be there?
I think his sidekick is already there. He's already done kind of like the pre-field work, and so he
Right.
meets him there. What's the sidekick's name?
I think uh the sidekick's name should be Jellyfish. Because
It's
he's
code name
like
for
a
right.
master. Well, he's like a master of disguise, so he's kind of squishy. Like he always is
Mm,
wearing disguises.
I see. I see.
Yeah,
Yes, no one knows his actual name. It's just
right.
everyone calls him Jellyfish. So yeah,
Yeah.
so Buck Mirror
Uh
travels
huh.
to Phoenix, Arizona to meet up with Jellyfish, and what they do is they have to go to this nightclub in order to
Right.
infiltrate it. And
Oh,
they have a contact.
but we have like, but here's what's kind of funny is
Uh-huh.
like, Jellyfish is currently in disguise as the financial mastermind Dave Ramsey, and his disguise is kind of set, so he can't really get rid of it. so
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 they go to the nightclub,
our
Dave
super
Ramsey and
spy
Buccaneer.
our super spy Buck Mirror and Dave Ramsey go to a nightclub in Phoenix, Arizona,
Uh huh.
and
Yep.
that's where they meet the contact is a
Right.
waitress at the club, and her name,
Uh, yeah, I came up with Jellyfish. Your turn.
she's only known as Mirage.
Oh, is she like an old agent that Buck Mirror used to work with?
She is a retired. She retired from the intelligence department,
Yeah.
and she erased all of her identity, so no one remembers who she was. She's only known as Mirage.
Mm. I
And
don't know.
so,
I think it would be
hmm,
nice if Buck Mirror and her had some history. Ooh, or are we gonna have an evil lady? Now what? Let's have an evil lady. He can have a
hmm
romance with Mirage, I suppose.
Yes, yes. So Mirage is there at the club. She gets them the information they need, and they have that little spicy interaction going back and forth.
Yeah,
And
and meanwhile, Jellyfish is Dave Ramsey's going around saying that drink's way too expensive. Don't buy that. You
he's
need to
like,
save your money.
you're really using a lot of your finances trying to keep all these lights on. You should really cut down on some of your electricity usage.
You'll never become a millionaire at this rate.
It's shameful. But in the middle of Dave Ramsey's tirade, um, that is when Dr. Chia Torti's
Hmm.
henchmen break in and try to find Mirage.
Right.
And so Buck does, fights the people, and the three of our three heroes escape, and their journey continues to Miami.
Okay.
Yes. So where do they pick up?
Yeah. So they go to one of those crocodile farms, and
Yes, Miami's famous for those.
yeah, oh, we're in Miami, not outside of it. Um, yeah, they're just like one of those crocodile, those alligator places for tourists. And so when he gets there, is he with Mirage? Mirage is with him, right?
Of course, she's in it now, so she can't get out.
She she's in it. Okay. So I would say that the owner of the alligator farm has been killed by the evil lady working for Dr. Spoon Turtle.
Mm.
Her name is uh, Barbara Gunn. Barbara Gunn. And
Cool.
so she tries to seduce him while he looks at the alligators. And Mirage sees that one of the keys is in the alligator's mouth, and she she wrestles the alligator and gets the key um, before Buck Mirror gets seduced by the evil lady, and they leave before Barbara Gunn can shoot them.
Dang.
Yeah. And so, what's the last place they have to go to?
The last place is Butte, Montana.
Okay. So they get there. What happens there?
So in Butte, Montana, what they have is they have to go outside Butte, Montana, because I mean, if you're in Montana, you're probably not in a city because they're so small.
Of
um,
course, right.
so what they do is they end up having to go search the cliffs and the different, like, cool little buttes around there, or whatever they're called. And they have to find
Um.
the key that's hidden there. And Barbara Gunn and Mirage, they begin to just fight it out.
Oh
Mirage is
no.
it. And so that starts that whole, fight scene. And then as he locates the third key, Buck Mirror looks up and sees Dr. I don't even remember the French pronunciation anymore. Spoon
Yeah.
Turtle. Tolte, I think. I don't know. Spoon Turtle is there.
Yeah.
And he begins to dialogue, or excuse me, he begins to monologue for
Ooh.
45 minutes.
Oh my gosh. It's an iconic speech in the
And
movie.
it's so iconic. But what Buck Mirror does is he continues to search for the key while Spoon Turtle distracts himself.
Yeah. Honestly, the actor for Dr. Spoon Turtle did win an Oscar. He will win an Oscar for that
Mm,
monologue alone.
yes. But the thing is, the camera shot of this little scene is like it's a pulled out shot to where you're seeing a larger view. And
Yeah.
for 45 minutes, you see Dr. Spoon Turtle pace back and forth with all these, like, big hand gestures and spitting out his, mumbo jumbo. And
Uh huh.
Buck Mirror is just like crawling around looking under rocks for whole 45 minutes. And then at the end of the speech, Buck Mirror goes, "Oh, I found it." And then he punches Spoon Turtle in the face,
Yeah.
knocks him out cold.
Yeah. And so I think also this is it's an iconic scene because you have the monologue, you have Buck Mirror searching under rocks, but also Mirage and Barbara Gunn have still been fighting the entire time.
That is true.
And so I would say, like, as soon as he finds the key and goes, I found it, and then he punches out Dr. Spoon Turtle, that's when Mirage and Barbara Gunn, they both grab each other and they fall off the side of the cliff. Yeah, and when he runs over there, he sees Barbara Gunn dead on the ground way at the bottom of the cliff, but Mirage is totally gone. She's disappeared.
Oh my gosh.
It's like she wasn't even there.
Whoa. Wait, so this whole time everyone's crazy?
It's like she was a mirage.
Oh, and then all of a sudden you hear
She'll
the
be in
doctor.
the sequel.
Yeah. Well, you hear a voice in the distance that says, "Buck, Buck, Buck," and then he wakes up and he's in a hospital bed and he's a psychiatry patient and he's clinically insane. It was all a dream.
We can't end it there.
Okay, fine.
I'll meet you halfway. He does wake up in the hospital, but it's a hospital owned by Dr. Spoon Turtle.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And so it's also where he has the nuke cannon. And the state he's planning on targeting next is Nebraska.
Wow.
Yeah, not enough bad things happen there.
Not enough happens there.
Gosh, poor Nebraska.
Except for the fact that, Deion Sanders and Colorado come in and absolutely wreck Nebraska. And then they have to go home and it's like, well, I guess we do suck at everything.
Man, someone will get that reference. Anyway, so we go on, and so Buckmere gets out of his restraints. He's looking for the nuke cannon. Do we want his commander to be evil and to also be there?
I don't think so. I don't think.
Okay.
John Swanson is a stand-up individual.
I think maybe he could be evil in the sequel. Not like now. Not right now. He's
like
a good guy.
the whole you either die a hero or live to see yourself become a villain kind of thing.
Oh yeah, maybe like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So he finds the nuke cannon, and I guess Dr. Spoon Turtle is there. Do they have one final fight scene, or does he just push him away and then turn off the nuke cannon? I mean, how fast do we want to wrap up this episode?
Well, considering that, he's already talked for a whole 45 minutes, I think it's, again, Buck walks up to him, sees the nuke cannon, and he begins to start talking again. And Buck just walks up to him and slams his head down onto the desk and calls the authorities, and they come pick him up.
Oh, nice. I would think it's funny that as Dr. Spoon Turtle's starting his second monologue, it's like he's clearly lost his voice from talking so much the last time.
Yeah.
So it's really raspy.
That's the main reason why Buck is very upset in this moment, because he's like, I hated hearing you now, but hearing you again with a worse voice is all terrible.
Right. And so he turns off the nuke cannon. He destroys the nuclear core. He just punches it, I would say. Just one punch,
Yep.
And then how do we want it to end? Like, do we want him back in that coffee shop, maybe winking at the barista, and then maybe he sees Mirage?
Yes. No. So what happens is he goes back to the coffee shop. He sits again in the corner seat of the bar. He talks. He again kind of flirtatiously looks at the barista, and the barista comes over and begins to say something, and she says, that coffee's a little more overpriced than it should be, and it's Dave Ramsey jellyfish.
Oh no, no way. Gosh, that'd be great.
Dave Ramsey is still the master of disguise, but now that Jellyfish cannot remove the Dave Ramsey disguise, he has to put other disguises over the Dave Ramsey disguise.
part of me wants to make a massive plot hole and then have Dave Ramsey remove his disguise and it be Mirage. And then you think, how was Dave Ramsey and Mirage in the same scene earlier?
That's
that was
true.
actually Dave Ramsey. It's Dave Ramsey pretending to be Jellyfish, who is actually Mirage, pretending
it's
to
Dave
just be
Ramsey.
Mirage.
He just got swept up with this whole thing and he was really confused.
He was. He just went with it.
Gosh, what a twist. Dave Ramsey was actually Dave Ramsey.
And then when, like, in that nightclub, when the fake Dave Ramsey noticed that, you know, he'd accidentally roped in the real Dave Ramsey, that's when Mirage was like, well, I just need to be Mirage.
Yep. Wow. What a twist. That's such a
good twist ending.
Such a better twist than any other spy movie thing.
Yeah,
we should like actually know that was Dave Ramsey.
Oh, it's great.
Gosh. All right. Well, we need to go ahead and finish up this episode. So let's go ahead and cue that music. So this is the part where we spit our facts, our hard truths, and our social media. But Nathan, I think your little thing that you had was a catchphrase.
Yeah.
But I don't remember what the catchphrase was. But I think it's a catchphrase.
I tried. No, mine was a bit different. I used Scottish slang as my foreign language. And I use the words bonny and brow, which mean beautiful and good looking. So your whole spiel about
what?
Sean Connery being brow, it's spelled B-R-A-W, not O-W.
That's wow. So I had it, I caught it, but I didn't realize
you
I
did
caught
catch
it.
Yeah, I'll be honest, dude. Thinking about it, I can't identify what your secret phrase was.
So mine was a 10-letter word that just so happens to be mumbo jumbo.
Ah, dang it.
Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I didn't catch it at all.
Thank you. I used it, I think, 3 times. So I hit the
Okay, good. Yeah, when I listen to this episode again, I'll listen out for it.
Yep. It also happens to be one of my favorite Minecraft YouTubers, so there's that too.
Right.
Yep. So, again, ladies, our email just so happens to be absurdargumentsforyou@gmail.com.
Yeah, that's the letter for the number U at gmail.com.
Absolutely. And we've also got Facebook, Instagram, all that jazz, and Threads, although Threads is dying, so we'll still be there after it passes away.
Aw, how sweet.
And like the Alamo, we will always remember it.
Darn right. And 9/11. We'll never forget.
No.
That was yesterday.
Gosh.
You already forgot 9/11 was yesterday, dude?
Folks, that'll do it for us in this episode. Nathan, do you have any parting words that isn't going to be offensive in some way?
No. No, I don't.
Great. Thanks for listening, everyone. Be very cool out there. Don't offend people. Don't be misogynistic, and don't be like Nathan. And we will see y'all in the next episode.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.